Now, a Hutch's weather update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
Hello everyone, meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for portions of the Kidder County area and Stutsman County, not far from Jamestown, for some significant hail, upwards of tennis ball size. Let me show you the latest on the radar here. This area of concern is where you see the orange box, the pink and blue on the radar screen here. That is where we have the huge hail. It is just off to the north and west of Medina, moving southeast toward the I-94 corridor. A couple of other stout cells, one south of Wimbledon. That's not warned. This is not warned for here, but it's this storm moving out of the Kidder County area. Now, the latest from the National Weather Service says there is a considerable damage threat. Do you see that there? And if we take a look at the latest from the National Weather Service, they are saying until 3:15, the storm is said to be moving at 50 mile per hour, and tennis ball sized hail and 60 mile per hour wind gusts will be possible with that. Or what makes its way down to the ground, probably going to be a little bit closer to those tennis balls out there, but we'll keep our eyes on this. So, here are some communities in the path of the storm. Pettibone is very close to this hail core, as is Woodworth, but generally it'll be in rural portions of northwest Stutsman County. Just issued was a update for the storm out by Wimbledon too. We'll give you a detailed update on that here in one moment. But let's go ahead and time this storm out as we stop the radar from looping and show you where this hail core is heading here as it's drifting to the south and east at about that 50 mile per hour clip. So let's see if we can lock that in. Okay. All right, pardon me. There we go. All right, so we will estimate the speed of that movement at about 50 miles per hour. It'll be near Cleveland in about 25 minutes. Well, we just got a new scan in here, and that hail core has jumped over into Stutsman County, Windsor by 29 minutes. So I believe the storm to be enhancing in its intensity across the county line here. So, yeah, we're seeing some of the pink make its way into Stutsman County right now. So it is on a beeline toward the Cleveland area. Here's a look at the latest on the radar, and we'll go ahead and time this out for you folks in Cleveland to give you a little bit better clue here about when it may arrive. Okay, here we go. So this is updated with the very latest scan just now. In 18 minutes from now, there'll be a chance for this system to be very close to you folks in Cleveland. 2:27 is the current time, so add 20 minutes to that, and you're going to get 2:45. So by around 2:40 to 2:45, it will be in areas near Cleveland and then on towards Windsor. Notice this doesn't miss the Jamestown area by much if the current rate and direction of movement with this storm is maintained. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look and see if we had any questions. Again, if you are waking up to rumbles of thunder, there is one nasty storm out in western Stutsman County, and it'll be making its way toward the Cleveland area here shortly. And again, should stay off to the west of Jamestown. Jamestown is not in the warning at this time. Most of northern Stutsman County has thunderstorm activity taking place up here. And this is the severe cell right here that I'm circling. And this is a very strong cell right here. We'll go ahead and analyze that one real quick right now to let you know that if you are in the path of this storm, there is going to be the possibility for some sizable hail and some gusty winds as it moves into Barnes County. Now, the National Weather Service saying that this storm is moving off to the east at about a clip of 25 miles per hour, 40 mile per hour gusts, and it says nickel-sized hail. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the estimated movement of that storm. It looks to be intensifying the Hutch here. I think we may be seeing some up to 3/4 inch diameter hail from that cell. And again, moving at a pretty good clip there. We'll put it at speed of close to 40 miles per hour, puts it in the Rogers area in 24 minutes, and North Valley City in about 40 minutes. So it's a ways away. So both Jamestown and Valley City have storms in and around the area. And in fact, Valley City, you have thunderstorms over you right now. There is another little cell down here that's moving closer to Valley City on the south side of the interstate. That one's moving due east at a very fast clip. It seems as though these storms are speeding up just a pinch right now. So that little cell that I just circled moving south of Valley City, we'll go ahead and time that one out. That one also moving at a pretty good clip. We'll put that at 48 miles per hour, and that will be near Oriska in 21 minutes, Tower City in 27 minutes. So now, as we take a look at this line of storms, a little bit of an intensification of the cells as they work their way through. I can tell you that if you are in the area of easternmost parts of Kidder County here, that cell, at least the severe part of the cell, seems to be exiting the Pettibone area now and moving solely into Stutsman County. So that one has some very large hail. Riley, thank you for logging in. If you do happen to get an opportunity, you can go ahead and take a look at Hutch's website here. I'll put the link up on the screen for you here so that you can take a look at that. But essentially, you can go to my website, hutchesweather.com, and upload photos or reports of severe weather. A photo will be a great way once it's safe to do so. And that storm is very stout, moving into Stutsman County now. Jamestown, you are not in the severe thunderstorm warning. Western parts of Stutsman County are. That includes Medina and points north of Medina. It includes Cleveland. Woodworth, you are also in the warning, as is Pingree and Buchanan. But the Pingree Buchanan areas do have some thunderstorm activity over the area right now, and those storms that are near you right now are not severe. The storms happening in Buchanan and Pingree are not severe. The main event for this particular storm cell is right here. This is the reason the warning was issued, is for that cell that has all the pink in it there. It has indicated that it's lost a little bit of intensity, but now as we look south of Wimbledon, this one is gaining right over Spiritwood some intensity right now. So a lot more lightning with that storm as well in the last few scans, and severe storms often increase their output of lightning, and that's what we're seeing with that cell there that's making its way south of Wimbledon. Not going to be surprised if we see some quarter-sized hail out of that particular cell. Enderlin, we got a cell near you that's intensifying as well. We'll see a little bit of pink on that moving into Sheldon. That storm is not severe at this time, but could be capable up to some nickel-sized hail. And as we look at this cell here, moving its way into the Wahpeton area, Windmere area, that cell also staying at a fairly solid clip, moving off to the east at about 45 miles per hour, straight over Highway 18 right now and paralleling Highway 13. So that is a look. The Fargo area is under a severe thunderstorm watch until 7 o'clock in the morning. It is now 2:30, and I can tell you that this leading edge of thunderstorm activity will be in the Fargo area and West Fargo in about 1 hour, maybe just a little bit more. So if you're watching from the FM area, thank you very much. We'll tell you that it does look like we're looking at about 3:45 for the main line of storms to begin working their way through. Some of these storms very stout. Southeast North Dakota will have the best chance at seeing some of this activity. As we look down in toward the Sisseton Hills and the Sisseton area, moving out towards Wheaton, not far from Rossholt there, New Eppington and Clare City is a pretty stout little thunderstorm crossing over I-29 right now in South Dakota. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. That is a quick look. The Stutsman County area under a severe thunderstorm warning for some very large hail. This is falling just north of the area of Medina. Here is the latest scan. And as we measure the distance north of Medina, right now that hail core is only 5 miles north of Medina as the crow flies. So 5 miles north of Medina is the hail core. Let's take a look at this in 3D, shall we? This is a very tall thunderstorm as well. We can take an estimate of the cloud top heights here, and we'll go ahead and turn on my spyglass, and I'll show you that the reds that you're seeing here moving into the Medina area, 50,000+ foot cloud tops estimated here in the orange. I do want to take a look at the reflectivity, and then we'll go back into this 3D mode. I showed this a little bit ago. It gives us the ability to look at this storm from a little bit different perspective And what you're looking at on the right-hand panel over here, this pancake-looking thing, that's 3 dimensions of the scans that are conical in shape as the radar scans up in the sky at an angle. So we're going to dial back all the white colors or the lower reflectivities, and we'll put on the more robust reflectivities that are approaching, say, 50 dBz. Now, when we do that, you go back to this view over here, you're going to see where we have these hail cores, and you can see the towering storm right here on the left side. I'll just kind of zoom into that. That is the beefy one that is making its way into western Stutsman County. The cloud top heights with this were the ones that were 50,000 feet, and you're seeing inside the cloud right now this big red core. That's probably a whole entire core of at least some small hail mixed in with the raindrops. Now, when we dial this in even more, we can show you that some of the uh, largest hailstones are being flung up into the atmosphere to great heights, and that's what makes the chances increase for this storm to be producing sizable hail. So where we're seeing these bluer shades here in the radar reflectivities, that's a hail core that's been lofted up into the atmosphere to some pretty lofty heights, upwards of about 45,000 feet or so. So again, the storm system moving north of Medina is a huge hail producing potential storm. And often is the case with these types of storms, when they do fester up like this, they can also produce some pretty nasty burps of gusty straight line winds. So keep that in mind. A quick check of the velocity to see if there's some spin associated with these storms. And I would say, yes, I can identify some areas of spin, but this is a long ways away from the radar site. So you're looking at the top of the clouds here. And it does look like we do have some motion towards the radar in green. That radar is located in Mayville, North Dakota, and away from the radar here in the red. So there is a little bit of spin, broad spin in that storm. And let's take a look at what we got going on over here, not far from Jamestown. We got a little bit of velocity. Let me take a look at what these wind speeds are, just measuring into the cloud here. I'm going to turn my little crosshairs on. This activity right here moving into Medina, I just saw a 72 mile per hour a bit. Yeah, so we got some very, very strong winds that are moving from west to east toward the radar. So gusty winds in excess of 50, 60 miles per hour are going to be also a possibility with this storm as we move through. Now, these wind speeds we're measuring here are up pretty high in the cloud. And this cell down here, moving into Barnes County, also showing some signs of some spin working as it's working its way through. So these are some rotating supercell thunderstorms working their way through. The warned storm is over here in Medina. It's this big glowing pink one here moving in towards Medina and Cleveland right now. I'd say Cleveland is exactly in the track of this storm. And the large hail potential with this storm. And as it's moving to the southeast at a very, very fast clip here, it's moving at about 50 miles per hour. Here is a look at the estimated time. We'll update this for you now. The current time is 2:37 in the morning, Central Time. This storm will be heading into Cleveland in about 13 minutes. So that's about 2:49, 2:50. That hail core will be near you. So be prepared for very gusty winds on the order of 60 plus miles per hour. There is a little bit of a backward C shape to this radar echo right here, which would indicate those winds are going to be coming at you from a northwesterly direction. So west northwesterly gusts, I think that could be in isolated spots as high as 60 to 70 miles per hour with that particular storm, with the hail size that's coming out of it. Now, Valley City here, there's a pretty good core moving its way into your general direction, particularly on the south side of town, crossing over Highway 21 there, just south of Valley City. That storm is stout, but it is not quite up to severe levels. So that's a look at what's going on across the region. I'll keep you posted here. If you're in the Stutsman County area and you have a hankering to do so, please take a moment and upload your reports of severe weather, including pictures, if you have them, of hailstones comparing their size, so we can see next to, say, a ruler or something of a known diameter what the hail size is. A lot of crop damage done in the last week or two across the region from all of our storms across the area. For now, I am meteorologist Hutch Johnson. If these storms do approach your area, make sure you're seeking shelter in an interior room. Stay away from the windows. Again, gusty winds and damage or very large hail, call those reports into your local authorities. They do pass that information along to the National Weather Service as well. For now, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. You're watching Hutch's Weather. Remember, you can get the latest on hutchesweather.com, my brand spanking new website, and that's where you can also upload your videos and photos of activity in your area. Have a wonderful early morning. Oh, we got a new update here. It looks like we've seen a cancellation of some of the counties in the severe thunderstorm watch as these storms are making their way east into the eastern third of North Dakota. The risk for severe weather out west is waning. So likely what's going on is we're seeing some counties getting lopped off with regards to the watch. So I'll show you that right quick here as I was getting ready to leave. So the watch area is in yellow. That yellow area there is where we have the severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 7 in the morning. You can see the storms have already exited the Bismarck area and they're on their way out. So the risk of severe thunderstorms will be waning there. Canceled watch for Towner County and Benson County. So no longer is there a risk on this northern flank, mainly just some rain events up there. So the watch has been dropped for the far northern part of the valley. We're also seeing a clearing of the storms out of areas like Bismarck and just exiting out of the Towner County area as well as the Wells County area. For all intents and purposes, your risk of severe weather is rapidly moving off to the east. Fargo, we are under the watch, as is the Dilworth, Glendon, Felton area hit so hard by strong storms last night. I saw some hail damage out there not far from Felton that was very, very not good. I'm going to stick with you here. Medina, Cleveland, this hail core is moving right over you. I'm still seeing ridiculous reflectivities here that show that the energy being returned to the radar screen is quite large. It's moving right into the Cleveland area here shortly. Now, this is what the radar is seeing up above the ground. This doesn't mean this is what's falling onto the ground at this particular time, but suffice it to say that there are some huge reflectivities and hailstones up there in that cloud. You bet, Riley. Thank you for watching. Thanks, Stacy, for checking in. We sure appreciate you and hope that you're staying safe. Heed the warnings. Stay in the interior room. That is a big storm out there. Little bite taken out of the southern flank of it. I wouldn't necessarily call that a classic hook echo or anything like that, but let me take a look at it one more time in motion. It might be a secondary cell. No, that looks like an outflow there. So we've got this what might be a outflow dominant storm over on that south side. So some pretty stout winds. Let me take a look at the velocities on that south side of that storm there, where, oh my goodness, that's pretty strong. So I would say we do have some very strong outflow from this storm here. Take a look at what this crosshair says here. These wind speeds up above the ground, that's 169 miles per hour. 169 miles per hour. Again, this is a very, very strong storm that's moving right over the I-94 corridor there. So wind speeds with this storm might, even outside of the warned area, get to be ridiculously strong. So that little punch we were seeing on the radar, definitely capable of some very sizable storms. I'm going to snapshot this. This is a huge amount of wind. I'll put this on the desktop here so I can save it for later. Sometimes it's kind of fun to go back and reanalyze these, but 130, 120, 140 mile per hour winds are 169 miles per hour, folks. Wind speeds aloft being measured by the Doppler radar. Let me just double check. That's from the Bismarck radar, and that is the closest radar to the scene of what's going on here. Let me just double check a couple other things here, what we're looking at. So we've got motion, 169 miles per hour. That's blowing inbound toward the radar there. And then over here is some outbound wind or whatever. So Yeah, there's some pretty stout winds with this storm here that are blowing in, and could be some extreme divergence aloft in the cloud too, causing that, and that could really be supporting some of this huge hail. So, I do think we're looking. Let me look at what the Mayville radar is showing. That would be even higher up in the clouds. See if we're getting confirmation of either divergence or shear. Um, okay, so here what we're looking at is in the same area near Cleveland. Let's see if we're getting measurements of wind speed. So this is still measuring upwards of 90, 80, 90 mile per hour winds. That wind that it's measuring there is away from the radar, so that confirms what we were seeing there. But this is going to be a lot higher in the atmosphere because it's a little farther away. So this is a very, I think this thing is becoming a very a high wind potential storm as well as it works its way across the I-94 corridor. So nasty storm, Stutsman County right now, capable of hail upwards of tennis ball size and maybe even a little bit more at times. It is showing some signs here on the south side here, where there's this little pocket there of some extreme winds being blown in this storm right in this particular vicinity right here. The hail core is getting ready to move into Cleveland. So that is a very, very nasty thunderstorm. So make sure you're seeking shelter, stay away from the windows, and report any severe weather. I just want to emphasize to you that if you do have some severe weather to report from these storms, make sure it's safe. Make sure the storm is out of your area. But the kind of things that can be helpful is if a tree branch is broken, what's the diameter of that big tree branch? The whole diameter. So you measure it from this side to this side over here. Is it a 6-inch tree branch that was snapped off? Is it a 1.5-foot tree branch that was snapped off? Did it snap it off halfway up the tree? Those kind of things can be helpful in helping us determine what kind of winds may have caused the damage you're seeing. So a very windy storm, I believe, is what we were noticing. I did see and note some winds there moments ago. I'm just going to take another look at that because it was some nasty winds associated with that storm, upwards of 170 mile per hour winds. Now it's back up to 3-inch diameter plus hail moving into Cleveland. Yeah, so this is going to be a considerably damaging storm making its way through western Stutsman County. Now it is on its way towards Sydney and Charlotte. Gackle, it's going to be moving in your general direction. It's moving right along the southern flank of the warned area right now. So that storm is very nasty. Here's another look at that radar. Again, the latest scan now estimating that this hail core is over Cleveland. I'm going to take a look at a couple of other things here with regards to the hail potential with the storm. Severe thunderstorm warning, Stutsman County and Lamore County. So they've added this one into Lamore County now as far as where it's going. Do you see 4-inch, this 4 circle here? Let's look at this. This is estimating 4-inch diameter hail. Okay, mesocyclone, meaning it's rotating like we showed you. There's some wind gusts up aloft in this storm that I was just clocked at 169 miles per hour. So up aloft, this storm is really producing some significant winds. That doesn't mean that's what's hitting the ground, but sometimes that does mix down toward the ground. Let me see. I've got another one. Severe thunderstorm watch canceled for Wells County. We just told you that. The risk there was going to be lowering because the storms have passed through your area. Same thing for the Bismarck-Mandan area. I want to point this out. What you're looking at here is called the correlation coefficient. It's something from a dual polarized radar. And what we're noticing here on this Bismarck radar is this area right here. And then there's this continuation of higher reflectivities just straight downwind from that. That is an effect that we're seeing there, and so that's something that tells me that there is indeed a huge hail core, and that hail core is right here at the beginning of this continuation that goes on here. So you see this long continuation of data that's going on here, and it starts right here by Cleveland. Now, when we go back to the reflectivity data, what you're going to see is some of the strongest reflectivities are right at the beginning of that line, right there. There's that purpose. So that can cause data to be skewed downwind from huge hail. So this is indeed very huge hail working its way through Cleveland, south of Cleveland right now. And it could be every bit of a tennis ball size hail or even better. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we're getting some baseballs out of that storm at this time. And the radar's estimating the largest hailstones could be as high as 4 inches in diameter. Considerable damage threat from this storm, says the National Weather Service. They're still sticking with a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust potential. Would not be surprised if we're seeing more than that in some parts of the storm. We do have it moving southeast at 50 miles per hour. So let me give you just an update. This is a terrible storm for this late at night. Just to give you an idea there, we've lost our daytime heating and sun energy, which drives and fuels these storms, and it's still having enough energy to have rising motion in it that is strong enough to support hail, tennis ball size, and maybe even larger. So that's how strong the updraft is in that storm. That's a huge thunderstorm. Moving southeast right now from the Cleveland area. There's the core of the hail moving along this white lined boundary here. We'll put it out there at about 53 miles per hour. That is going to be moving towards Charlotte within about 20 minutes. Your current time right now, 2:50. So in 20 minutes, that would be 3:10. Okay. Millerton, 24 minutes, and Montpelier about 30 minutes from now. So prepare for very large hail and gusty wind that could be damaging. Batten down the hatches, make sure the lawn furniture is tied down, and bring the vehicle into the garage. This is a very large hail producing thunderstorm moving through Cleveland right now. See if I'm getting anything. Let's see. Good morning, Hutch. I know over in Beach it is windy due to the storms by Bismarck or not. So, yeah, Beach, North Dakota, way out here. Let's see. Whoopsie, sorry. Okay. Yeah, if it's windy out in Beach, North Dakota, let me see. I'm going to have to go to another radar out here. We got a couple of thunderstorms up by Wolf Point, but on the backside of this cold front, we're getting some gusty winds apparently. I can throw on the wind speed measurements that we're seeing across the area here and show you that. Oh, we got some north winds out by Sydney. See if Beach is going to chime in with any kind of a measurement out here. We go to, there we go. So Glendive, you're having 15, 20 mile per hour winds. So it's breezy out there. Let's go back out this way and see what we've got. We got a new warning for the warning for Jamestown. This one here for the tennis ball size hail. There is a part of this storm on the north side that is going to head into Jamestown. Okay, so let me circle it right here. This little area of pink that you're seeing right here, that is moving towards Eldridge and Jamestown right now, and that's going to be capable of some sizable hail. By that, I mean 1 to maybe 2 inches in diameter still. Okay, so there is going to be a sizable chunk of hail heading in the general direction of Jamestown and Eldridge. This is the main event right here, and this one's moving off to the south and east, and that one's moving off towards southern parts of Stutsman County, towards Sydney. So that storm has a couple different areas of it, and Jamestown, you are going to see some very strong thunderstorm activity coming into your neck of the woods. Valley City, you got a pretty stout little thunderstorm cell here, and we see near Sanborn that there is a little bit of a hail core there as well. There's not a warning on that particular part of the thunderstorm yet, but it is a strong thunderstorm capable of hail, could be up to about 1 inch in diameter. We have garden variety thunderstorms down here right now in parts of southeast North Dakota. These storms are not capable of large hail, but could be capable of hail the size of nickels from time to time. And those will be pushing into the Fargo area within the hour. Okay. So Fargo, Wahpeton, Breckenridge will be seeing a little bit of thunder shower activity, but you can certainly see clearly and well defined where the main event is here taking place as we look out towards Jamestown. Wimbledon, we got some strong thunderstorms, Sanborn, Rogers, and this will be heading up toward the Ashtabula area from Daisy down to Rogers. Please be aware of that if you happen to be out on the lake. These storms will be pretty windy as well, so be interesting to see. I'm going to take a look now while I leave the radar up, and I'll loop the radar for you. And what I'm going to do is not ignore you. I'm looking at some other radar and measurement data across the region to see if I can find out any information on wind speeds associated with this storm as well. So let's go. Let me go ahead and do that while you guys watch the radar there, and we'll keep you up to date with the very latest here. So I'm going to look at some measurements of wind speed. Okay, we got some gusts that are pretty stout out there. Let's see, peak gusts. Okay, so right around this thunderstorm area here, we do have some peak gusts that were hitting close to 50 mile per hour just off the ground. And then if we look up even higher off the ground, a little bit higher in the towers, I'm seeing some gusts upwards in the Carrington area over 50 miles per hour. So yeah, measured moments ago, some winds aloft in this storm that were heading south of the Medina and Cleveland area. This little cell right here, that has pulsed up and down and at times has showed hail size estimates of close to 3 inches in diameter or so. And also some terrible wind speeds associated with that storm up at that level. It's going to be high off the ground, but let's take a look at those radial velocities once again from the storm, and let's see what we're measuring with the Doppler radar. This will be the radar out in Bismarck, so it's getting that's going to be a pretty good measurement for that particular wind speed there, and it's not picking up as much wind than in the storm on this particular scan here. So let me see. There it was. Go back a little bit more there. So looks like they did some changing of the radar's mode. It's kind of flipping in different directions there. It might have been a bad scan or two, but at any rate, here's some 99, 100 mile per hour winds associated with the storm in this particular area. So we do have some real stout winds with that puppy measured by the Doppler radar above the ground. Now let's see what the Mayville radar is measuring. We got a new statement from the Weather Service for the storms moving into the Mayville area. I will get to that too momentarily. But here's a look at those same storms moving into the Jamestown area and the wind speeds measured with it. This one here, both radars are showing better than 70 miles per hour and at times 169 mile per hour winds up above the ground with this storm here. So it's got some terrible wind speeds up aloft. Now, sometimes that energy can mix down close to the ground in isolated spots. And if that happens, we could see some pretty terrible winds. And look at it's coming with hail. So you're going to get some terrible wind-driven hail moving through places like, well, now it's just passed out of the Medina area, heading to rural areas south of Medina. So damaging storm there. We have a windy thunderstorm moving in right now into the Jamestown area. I'm going to go back to the velocities and we'll take a look at the hail potential. Oh, the hail potential has really diminished with the Jamestown part of the cell. That's good news there. Now we're looking again from the Mayville radar, so this one might not be the closest of the radars. So we're looking up a little higher in the sky, but nonetheless, radar reflectivities look like they've come down a little bit. Let me loop this for you, and you can see I'm watching what's coming into Jamestown here. There was some pink in the display a little earlier. Yeah, the Mayville radar is not catching as much of the lower part of the cloud there. So there could be some hail, some small hail in Jamestown. You are not in the warning there, but areas just to the west of you, Buchanan is in that warning. That warning is in effect here for the next 18 minutes for the cell moving towards Buchanan and Eldridge. Okay, so the main event right down here, south of Cleveland now, and very large hail heading towards Charlotte and Sydney, moving southeast at about 50 miles per hour. It does not look like it will pass through Gackle. If I were drawing this line, I would say anywhere in between this area right here, in between these two white lines that Hutch drew is where this hail threat is going to be very high. Got a little wind, says Amber and Spiritwood. Thank you for your report there. And Funny Memes says, stay safe. And indeed, I would concur with that. Mitch Too much coffee, wide awake in West Fargo. Are we going to get anything? Yeah, there are some weaker thunderstorms heading into the West Fargo area, Mitch, and thank you for checking in. You can certainly see that the intensity of these cells heading to the FM area within the hour here are really dwindling. But all of this mess, watch where it's going. So I'll loop that mess. Watch where that mess is going. Much of this storm here, that's uh, big one in town right now, is south of Jamestown, and that's going to head right into Lamore County here shortly. So Lamore County has a good chance of seeing some very severe thunderstorm activity. Okay, and this is a considerably damaging storm. And I'm seeing wind damage with this storm being a high risk with this particular storm. Valley City, the cell moving right into town here now is looking like it's picking up in strength. So if you're in Sanborn, I do know we do have a camera up not far from Sanborn there. We might be able to see what's going on, but we do have uh, an increasingly strong storm heading into Valley City. This storm is capable of 1 inch diameter hail. It's moving to the east-southeast at 24 miles per hour. There is not a warning for this storm at this particular time yet, but it's intensifying and it may just very well be capable of over 1 inch diameter hail now on the latest scan. So let's put this one in measure. It's going to be in the North Valley City area shortly, within about 20 minutes or so. So we'll keep our eyes on that one, and it could be capable of producing some sizable hail in Valley City, and maybe even the north side of town there as we go through the next 20 minutes or towards 3:30. So we do have some stout storms. Thank you so much, Mitch. I appreciate you. Now, those storms, the ones moving in towards the Valley City area, have a little bit of a southerly bent to them. So if we were going to take a look at the activity and where it's moving right now, I would say Fargo will be clipped by these storms, but maybe not by the heaviest part of the storms. The heaviest part of these storms is going to continue to, I believe, slowly drift to the south. So while we're looking at that, while we're talking about that, why don't we take a quick look at two things. Thing number one is these roads. It's dark out. Yep, I don't want to look at snowfall reports. How did I click on that? I did not mean to do that. Okay. So it says snowfall reports, but that's a typo on Hutch Johnson's part because it must be late. My mistake and my apologies. This is not a snowfall report. This is a road report. And what we're going to do is take a look in here at the Jamestown area and places near Medina. And let's see what we're seeing on the interstate. It does look like we've got some sideways rain going on at the very least. The side of the road looks white. I hope that's not covered in hail, but it certainly could be because there was some sizable hail that made its way through Medina and Cleveland. Now, in Cleveland, let's see, I'm hearing some rumbles of thunder outside now, outside the FM area here. Let's take a look. Here's Jamestown. So we got some good old-fashioned rain coming into the James River Valley in Jamestown. That definitely doesn't have the white stuff on the side of the road. There may be some significant hail on the side of the highway and interstate now out there by the Medina area. It's really hard to tell, but it sure kind of looks like it, doesn't it, to me? These cameras out here do have some night vision, and sometimes that might be the grass. But if we compare it to what we're seeing in another camera further up the road here, yeah, that looks pretty white. That grass looks pretty white. So that must be how the grass looks, unless they got some hail there too. Let's look down a little bit south of the Jamestown area. Let's see what's coming your way in the area of Gackle. It looks like that storm that is nasty is going to pass just north of you guys. That's pretty grainy and dark there, so no surprise that it's dark. And then as we look into Valley City and points just west, I don't have a camera on the west side of Valley City that I can look at. We can look at the Ariska rest area here. Ooh, wow, look at that cloud. See those low clouds in the sky out there and just kind of lighten up with the lightning out there. There's some wet roads there in Ariska. So Strong thunderstorm activity moving into and through the Valley City area right now. That storm system is actually gaining in strength a little bit as it moves into Valley City. So I do think you have a chance at seeing some sizable hail in Valley City in moments, in about 15 minutes. There's a hail core developing and building outside of town. And it's moving towards you. Here's what it looks like on the radar. So Valley City and Jamestown seeing some thunderstorm activity. Valley City could get hit with some sizable hail shortly. The hail core in southern Stutsman County seems to be diminishing and collapsing a little bit. So a wind threat for sure is also going to be in the cards there for places like Sidney, Charlotte, Gackle, and Judd and Dickey. So those areas can brace for the brunt of that particular cell. I am seeing a little bit of a weakening trend in the last couple of scans. Now, I said I would come up here and take a look at what's going on up near Mayville and Grand Forks. And there is a little bit of an alert given in the blue box here. Now, this is not a warning. What this is a special weather statement from the National Weather Service. The special weather statement here for Mayville says that the National Weather Service expects some gusts up to 50 miles per hour from this line. This movement is 15 miles per hour moving northeast. Isn't that weird how all these different areas of the storm have the cells moving in different directions? So these cells are slowly moving northeast here and could cause some very, very gusty winds. Look at these guys up here moving right towards Thief River Falls. None of this is really severe, but windy. Okay, they're windy storms, but not huge hail. And at this time, not severe winds. Severe winds are greater than 58 miles per hour. Clear to see that this nonsense moving along the Interstate 94 corridor here is certainly more robust on the heavy rain and hail potential. Cells moving into Richland County, not as strong as what we have moving through Valley City area right now, but they're stout thunderstorms down there in southeast North Dakota and picking up strength a little bit as they move towards Wahpeton and Breckenridge. Could be capable of some areas of hail as well. So we'll keep you posted on that. Right now, it doesn't look like huge hail. So that is an update. Let me see if I've got any questions. Make it stop. Yep, Kelly, I wish I could. Let's see. Melissa says coworker lives in Medina, and she said they got about ping pong ball sized hail. I'm going to pass that along to the Weather Service. If your friend, ooh, wow, I'm getting some very vibrant lightning outside the FM area right now. Just a lighten up the sky kind of a lightning. Huh. All right, very fun. Here we go. Yeah, I'm going to pass your report. You said ping pong ball size hail in Medina. Thank you, Melissa, for that report. Let me pass that along the Weather Service here. Goodness. It's been a busy few days. Okay. Ping pong ball hail reported by in Medina. All right, there we go. Thank you for your report. Again, that does help the National Weather Service know what these storms are producing, and it can definitely help assist us in keeping our eyes on what's going on. Now, the National Weather Service also is reporting a gust of 47 miles per hour to 56 miles per hour recently north of Carrington. So stronger winds across Eddy over the next 15 to 30 minutes. So even on the backside of the storm there, as the storms are exiting through the area, there are some very, very gusty winds associated with them. So Carrington, you have this kind of backwards C-shape echo moving out here. Let me show you where it started at here. And then it's here, and then it's moving through here. And so on the backside of the storm, pretty gusty winds making their way through. Those are heading towards Cooperstown. So a lot of wind with the storms as they're blowing through as well. And then this line here moving through Mayville, right there, Mayville. Okay, you see it's moving to the north and to the east. That's going to come with some 45 mile per hour gusts in isolated places. So we're getting gusts of winds in different directions in different parts of the area. We still have a pretty stout thunderstorm. You can really see that the pinks are starting to disappear with this cell. So gone are the apparent risk for the upwards of 3-inch diameter hail, and it's becoming more of a 1-inch diameter hail potential storm moving in towards Sydney. Still some very gusty winds. Let me go ahead and see if we can measure these winds from, this is getting a little bit closer to the Aberdeen radar now too. We got 3 radars we can look at this one with. I think I'm going to choose the Aberdeen radar because it's looking into the storm's winds a little bit more directly than the Mayville radar. The Mayville radar will be looking across the wind direction. So one moment while I take a look at the wind speeds here for you. Okay, so we definitely have some reds and greens next to each other there. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the wind speeds we're measuring. Okay, so it's got some wind toward the radar out there, about 40 to 50 miles per hour. This is way up high in the cloud. And then there are some signs of some outbound winds too. So there is some shear in that storm as it's working its way through. The Valley City storms are also showing some signs of shear from the Aberdeen radar. That's going to be way high in the sky. And the the Mayville radar showing the same thing right here. So if I'm looking at the base velocity, we're getting some wind measurements. Yeah, 40, 50 mile per hour winds moving through the Valley City area. That's above the ground, but there is some spin in the storm as well, a little bit. Doesn't mean a tornado is on the ground. It's a windy line of storms moving through the Barnesville area. The Valley City, Barnes County area. You see this little triangle icon. The radar is detecting that there's some tight rotation with that storm. As it's moving through. So it's picking up an area where we're getting some spin or shear near the Sanborn area, and that's moving through the region as well. So this cell right here near Highway 21 and 1 has some pretty decent rotation with it. And it's picking up some evidence of spin in the cloud. So it's a good idea to stay away from the windows, particularly if you have trees in the yard out there. Interior room is the best place. Lowest floor wouldn't be a bad idea. I'm looking at one more product here for velocities and spin. Yep, it's still pretty present and apparent there. South of Valley City, right where you see the greens and the reds next to each other, there is some spin in this storm working its way through Barnes County at this time. So go back to the regular radar view. We'll go ahead and take a look at the thunderstorm watch. Dropped for Bismarck, dropped for the Steele area in Kidder County, dropped for Wells, dropped for the Devil's Lake Basin. No severe thunderstorm watch for Grand Forks, but you got some windy thunderstorms and wet ones making their way through. Hey, we got some Boeing line segments working their way in towards the I-29 corridor, Wahpeton, Breckenridge. You're getting some thunder and lightning moving into the Abercrombie area right now. The time is 3:12 a.m. Here is this line segment that has this backward C shape. You're getting winds that will be blowing into town from left to right or from the west. So a windy line of thunderstorms working its way in towards Wahpeton. There is a Great Bend area where we got a little bit of pink on the radar here. There may be a risk of some hail there from that particular cell. Now I'm going to look for your comments here if I've got any questions. Otherwise, I think I'm going to let the radar play out here just a little bit. We do have some thunder and lightning coming into western parts of Cass County now. Wahpeton, Breckenridge seeing some stormy activity. Webster, South Dakota, we got Millbank and a storm exiting out of there towards Appleton. That has a Boeing line segment look to it too as we go into the wee hours of the morning. So a stout area of thunderstorm activity is continuing to make its way in. The Fargo area is in the path of the storms. A update on the distance away from Fargo. The rain is not that far out from West Fargo, about 23 miles. So a little less than an hour now, about 4:13. That should be moving in. The main storm with the real heavier rain and possible hail is a little bit farther away than that. That might be a little bit closer to 55 miles out. So Veronica says, yuck, indeed. And we're looking here at Val. Is it coming to Fargo? It looks like it. There is a huge cluster of storms that you see on the radar now. Let me see. Yep, you do see it on the radar now near Valley City. And if I loop this, you can kind of get the feel that the overall storm system that you're seeing over Valley City is slowly working its way towards Fargo at about 25 miles per hour. So it's about an hour and a half to 2 hours out from the main core of that's over Valley City now. Very heavy rains associated with this storm are going to be moving through. And in fact, if we take a look at the rainfall produced by this storm as it's worked its way through, we'll get an idea of the amount of precipitation over this storm's total lifespan. And look at that Stutsman County area here. Whoops. So where we see this shade of, I don't know, orange, we'll turn my crosshairs on, and this is estimating 3 and 4 inches of rain from Wimbledon through Rogers and northern parts and western parts of Barnes County here. So possibly 2.5 to 3.5 inches of rain. It'll be interesting to get your rain reports tomorrow. Northern Stutsman County, Wimbledon has some very heavy rain that is estimated by the Doppler radar. And as we go up here near Sykeston, a good 1 to 2 inches of rain there. New Rockford, rainfall estimates of 1 to 2 inches. The Devil's Lake Basin mainly got the Barnes County area, the Benson County area with 1 to 3 inches of additional rainfall there. So that's what this storm is producing. You can see there are a couple of different areas of heavier rain in those orange shades that have been drifting through with the heavier thunderstorm bands. So that's what we're seeing now. Yes, indeed, to answer your question, there is a chance for some of these storms to impact the FM area within less than an hour for the leading edge. Not all of us will get the heaviest of the rain, but many of us will get some pretty heavy rain as well. So that is a look at what's going on right now. Warning does continue for southern Stutsman County. It also does include our folks there in the northern reaches of Lemoore County. Okay, and that is in effect until we get to the, let's see, 3:45. So for the next half hour, that storm warning remains in effect. It's moving southeast at 50 miles per hour. So this storm is heading in the general direction of Lemoore. It has a history when it was over Medina of some ping pong ball sized hail as it worked its way through. Now look at what's going on in Valley City. We got a pretty stout wind, 20 mile per hour there at the airport, and a lot of the pink now showing up in the radar display, indicating the potential for some pretty sizable hail from that cell. Could be a nickel size to 1 inch in diameter, somewhere in that range, moving through the Cuba area, Fingal, Catherine, and Nome areas of southern reaches of Richland County. So some wind-driven hail possible, and also in the Wahpeton, Breckenridge, Great Bend area, we're seeing some pretty stout thunderstorm activity not far from Hankinson out there. As we head into the evening hours, this line of storms is heading in the general direction of Otter Tail County again. Hit pretty hard last night with the thunderstorms. Hutch is going to take a break. I got to get a drink of some water here, and thunder and lightning over the FM area right now. I'm wondering if we don't have some development of storms right over the top of the FM area right now. We got temperatures in the 70s still here at this wee hour of the morning. And indeed, we do have a very stout cluster of storms that a couple of these cells look like see these little white arrows here. They're pointing this way. That would mean this storm is moving a little bit to the north and east. So some of these individual cells are moving northeast and some of them are moving southeast. It's kind of an interesting cluster at this particular time. So if we loop it, you can see that the mass of the heavy rain and some hail moving into the Red River Valley. Fargo, some heavier stuff for Fargo, Uh, Not as heavy in Grand Forks, but certainly some heavy rain potential with several tenths of an inch of rain heading your way. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Remember to check into my website over there at hutchesweather.com. My live updates that you're seeing now can be seen on Hutch's website at hutchesweather.com. And as is very awesome, I get the opportunity to see and share your photos from the website. So if we take a look at the website, here you go. Let's see, we got to try this again here. See if I can hit that. It's got to reload the page here. Give it a minute. Okay, well, I'll have to fix that here in a second. I think I've got to do a little switch on the website. But the bottom line is that go to hutchesweather.com. You can see the very latest there. Strong storms working their way into southeast North Dakota. Severe thunderstorm watch until 7 in the morning. Right here in the valley, we have storms from the Breckenridge-Wahpeton area and some encroaching on the Cass County area right now, moving out of Barnes and Stutzman County. Until next time, stay tuned to me.